Hello, I'm Robert. I'd like to talk a little bit about Doomsday Debunked because we're getting some people posting here. I don't think maybe quite understand what the group's about. So, a common mistake that people get is that they think we're just trying to, we want you to go out there. They think, and it is not true, that what we want is for people to go out and sort of scour the web looking for scary things for us to debunk. And that is not what we're about at all. And they come and bring things and they say, look, this will scare you, sort of thing, and please come and challenge us to debunk it. That is not at all what we're trying to do. We would be here debunking all day. It's hard enough anyway. We'd be debunking constantly. We'd have stories, if we encouraged that, and we'd have stories like that, news stories every minute probably during the day. There's so much absolute nonsense that's shared on the web. And to have all that nonsensical stuff in our group would be absolutely overwhelming. So no, that's not what we're about, and we just won't be able to function if we were to permit that. So we have strict rules forbidding that. What we do have is that if you are scared of something yourself, so you found a story on the web and you are scared of it, in that case, bring your story to us, and we will look at it, and we look at it. We do science-based evidence checking, and also for things that aren't science, like for instance, if they say there's going to be a World War III or something, and then we look and see what the actual experts on military strategy say, the weapon, the what you call generals and such like. So we look. The difficult thing for the general public, for most people, is to know how to find experts. Another thing, recently. All these things about Trump's impeachment, then we look at the at expert understanding of what the legal situation is and what it means. How it turns out it isn't a law court in any sense, for instance, and people get very confused about that, and that the impossibility of what the Constitution means and how a president can't overturn the Constitution, unlike what seems to be the situation in Russia and China, but that's impossible in the US. So we look at these sort of matters in that sort of way, looking at the factually evidence-based, based on looking at the experts. So in that case, you look up lawyers, and you look at constitutional experts, and things like that. So for each subject is different. It's not really science there; it's constitutional experts you want for the Constitution. If for the coronavirus, we want the World Health Organization and experts on medicine and on epidemics. So if you come here and you're scared of something, then come to us, and then that's what we're going to try and answer you with. And we're not going to go about. If you bring something that's pseudoscience, then we won't hesitate to call it out and say, look, this is pseudoscience. This was published in, for instance, Zero Hedge is a place that does is a very right wing and pseudoscience and conspiracy. So we'll call it out and say that's what it is, and you don't need to pay any attention to them. And then you necessarily pick out some detail and say this is why you shouldn't listen to them. That was just a recent one. So we're that's what we're about. And this is not the place to come to share your own pet theory about why you think that the world's about to end, why you think the world economy is going to collapse, or do you think that climate change is going to lead to all human beings extinct in 6 months, or whatever your view might be. That's not really what we're about either. If you're scared of that, then we will help you, and we go through what the IPCC said and all the evidence-based science, and we'll help you with that. If you just want to come and tell everyone that and say you're convinced of it, and usually without anything except clickbait stories from the press and things like that, then that is not what we're about, and that's where people get rather confused. So we're not a place to challenge, to try and challenge us by searching and scouring the net for things to debunk, and we're not a place to share your pet theory. And basically, Doomsday Debunked is not about the debunkers; it's about the people who are scared. and all our rules are designed to help them, not us. And so if you come, so if you're scared, then it's just a place for you, and whatever you're doing is likely to be okay and natural because you're scared. You'll find all this is to protect the scared people, and to help it be a safe place for you to ask your questions and share things. And it's a place where people are autistic. Then about a quarter of our members are autistic, and you'll find that lots of other members are autistic, so it'll be much easier to kind of talk about some of the autistic issues. And so it's not that everyone is, it's not particularly autistic, but they are particularly prevalent that autistics people find it difficult to handle this, and they get more stuck in a rut, and they've got less of a social network to help them out of it and stuff. And sometimes they find it harder to talk to their doctor about what the problem is. And then we also have these people who are sensitive and imaginative, and they're the other main ones that we seem to have. This is anecdotal, but it's pretty strong. If anybody wants to do some research into it, I think it's a good chance that you would find that there's... but of course we only know about the people who find our group. So this is only that certainly amongst the people who find our group, which is self-selecting in some way, and a lot of people are autistic, very, very high prevalence. And an awful lot of imaginative and musician artistic types and so on. And just people, all walks of life who are very imaginative and have very vivid, see things very vividly. And so do please read these rules. So do feel free to post any story, however scary it is, however silly it may be. Nothing is too silly for us. We get one of the most silly ones recently, but people were very scared by it, who didn't have the kind of background. And things, when you panic, then you lose your discriminating ability, and some of our members are very young, and some are maybe intellectually challenged in various ways, or they just not had much teaching at school. They dropped out of school or didn't get on very well with their lessons. And they may be very strong in other areas, but they're not very strong in science or astronomy or mathematics, which are the things that, and they can also be just rather specialised and very advanced in some area, but there's another area that they've been scared at where it's not their speciality, even if they're teaching at university or something like that. Still, if it's not your speciality, then you can be fooled by these people. So do feel free to post any story, however scary, however silly, even if you know it's silly but are scared by it. Still, that's absolutely fine. Don't share a story just for laughter. And if you aren't scared by it, now I should maybe expand that a little bit. If you aren't scared by it, I'm not asking for debunk. So this should maybe almost be a separate bullet point. If you aren't scared by it, so come to think of it, what I just said, maybe the rules have made totally. Maybe I can make the rules slightly clearer for all this. If you aren't scared, but that's the basic rule. If you aren't scared by it, and not asking for debunk to help someone who is scared by it, don't share it. This is just not the place for that, because there are many other places you can share it. We actually have our debunkers and debaters if you want to share a story that you're laughing at, which is this sort of silly rapture story or something, and then you can go and share it in our debunkers and debaters group, but not here. And try to avoid mentioning actual dates. That's because many members get scared by any future dates. That's mainly for false prophecies. And don't mention any future dates unless you're scared of them. Need a debunk. So the rest is quite clear. So you might do have a look at our search and see if you can find someone else who has said this. This is just I've gone through these before, but and I just want to make one more point. This group is not meant to substitute for health professionals, not at all. So if your life is being seriously affected by this, we do our best to help, but we're just like your friends or your relatives or whatever. We're not professionals, and I don't think a health professional would, they'd hesitate. Maybe we do have some members who are involved with the health profession in one way or another, but we are not we're not offering that sort of support here in the group. And so you need to find a good health professional to help you with with the various things. Like no fault of our members, it's very similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. Been through something and some of them are diagnosed as having that. You've been through something extremely stressful, and then you keep getting kind of flashbacks, and you keep getting difficult to get rid of it, and to get over it. And getting rid of it is impossible if you try to force it out. It's difficult to get over it, but there are very good techniques that health professionals have, and our members that use their services find it's very helpful. Both talking techniques, and then also there's some drugs that some people find very helpful. Particularly, for instance, like one member was saying that she got panic attacks and every week, and then has been a month without panic attacks as a result of taking the medication that was prescribed for her. And panic attacks are awful. So that's if you're troubled by panic attacks, your heart beating faster, breathing faster, maybe vomiting with fear and things as well, then definitely medications can help with that. With some people, they're not totally universal, that everyone will be helped by the same medication, and sometimes you have to try different medications. But there's a huge amount they can do, and a vast range of talking therapies they can do. But you sometimes may have to be prepared. Most people get pretty good advice from their first health professional, but we have occasional cases where, if you go to your health professional and you feel they're not listening to you, then that is a sign that maybe you need to go to someone else. So they should be listening to you. Especially for something like this. If you say, I'm scared of climate change, they say, don't talk about climate change, something like that. It's not likely they would do it with that, but if you go and say that you're scared of an asteroid about to hit Earth, then they might treat it as if it's some kind of fantasy thing, but it's actually something that for you is very real because you've been reading it in these fake stories that you believe. And so, it's very important if you're talking to a health professional that they do understand where you're coming from and what your problem is. And if you feel they just talk, it's almost like they're talking to someone else. When they talk to you as if you were someone else, and they don't seem to recognise the sort of person you are. Then you try communicating as best you can with them. But if you can't, and if you can't get them to see what even the problem is that you're trying to address, then you need to find someone else. And maybe if you're like autistic and your health professional isn't used to dealing with autistic people again, you might need to try and find someone else if you possibly can. Anyway, I hope that helps. But most of our members seem to have good health professionals, but sadly, from time to time, we get one that doesn't work. So do bear in mind, don't feel it's the end of the world if your current health professional isn't helping you. You may need to shop around a little bit until you find the right one for you. And then, when you do, they are very effective with our members. This PTSD, whatever it is very treatable. Most people who come through our group, whatever it is, diagnose different things, but whatever it is, it's very treatable. And many people get over it within a few weeks or days, weeks, months, and then they're sometimes back here helping as debunkers. So a fair few of our debunkers are people who originally were scared, and then they got over it. So it can be done. Anyway.